You begin where every story begins, in the quiet movement of a second. It ticks, it breathes, and before you know it, another follows. You have always trusted time to be steady, like a heartbeat. Each moment feels like the next, arranged neatly in a line you can trace backward. Yesterday, last year, the memory of your first breath. But tonight, as you lie in stillness, you begin to sense that time may not be a line at all. It may be a river, flowing, bending, shimmering through unseen valleys of the cosmos. You close your eyes and let yourself drift along its surface. The current is soft, patient. Around you, the river glows, not with light, but with presence. Every droplet carries a moment, the sound of laughter, the flash of a star, the rustle of a leaf in wind. They move together, weaving through one another without collision. The seconds are not separate here. They are waves that rise and fall, overlapping and fading. You notice something strange. When you breathe deeply, the river slows. When your thoughts settle, its current feels almost still, as though time listens to your heartbeat. You remember that when you are in love, an hour disappears, and when you wait in pain, a minute feels like an ocean. It has always been this way. Time changes its shape depending on how you meet it. But this is more than feeling. This is physics. Time, as you know it, does not move the same for everyone. Einstein once imagined a person floating freely in space, watching the seconds drift past like feathers. Then he imagined another, standing on Earth, feeling the weight of gravity tug at every cell. To both, the moments unfold, but not quite equally. The pull of gravity stretches time itself just a little. Like taffy being drawn apart, you float deeper into the current, and you can see it now, vast and shimmering, curving around invisible masses. Planets, stars, and galaxies all bend this river, shaping the rhythm of its flow. You realize that time is not separate from space. The two are threads in the same cosmic fabric, stitched together so tightly that neither can exist alone. You reach your hand into the current. It feels cool, endless. Each ripple seems to carry a memory of movement, the orbit of Earth around the sun, the spin of atoms, the slow unfolding of light through distance. You sense that time is not simply passing by, it is being created, moment by moment, by the dance of everything that exists. Every atom, every flicker of energy, every heartbeat contributes to the making of time. You think of clocks, the ones that tick on your wall, the digital ones glowing softly in the dark. They are not the true keepers of time. They are storytellers, translating the invisible river into something human, something countable. Yet even the best clock cannot measure the full mystery of what time is in the quiet of your mind. You recall how Einstein saw it, not as a universal rhythm, but as something personal. To each observer, time unfolds in its own way. Like two travelers walking different paths along the same stream, they both hear the water, but not at the same tempo. The faster one moves, the slower their time will run. It feels impossible until you imagine it. You picture yourself floating on this cosmic river, while another version of you speeds past in a spacecraft. You watch your reflection ripple beside theirs. As their vessel races forward, your twin's clock ticks just a little slower. Their moments stretch like silk. When they return, they will have aged less than you, though both of you traveled through the same universe. The river shimmers brighter, responding to your understanding. You begin to see that time is not a background against which life happens. It is woven into life itself, expanding, bending, reshaping. It stretches near stars and slows where gravity gathers. It folds softly around motion, like water around a stone. You drift past centuries of human wonder, sundials carved from stone, hourglasses turning slowly, pendulums swinging in silent halls. Each invention a way of touching the untouchable, of trying to understand what we are swimming through. The ancients looked to the sky, to the steady rising of stars, believing time was born there. And in a way, it was not in the stars themselves, but in the distances between them, in the way light must travel to reach our eyes. Even light, the fastest traveler of all, cannot escape the river. It moves at its own limit, unchanging, constant. Everything else, planets, people, atoms, must move within that limit, and in doing so, they experience time differently. You begin to see how motion and time are bound, inseparable companions. The faster you move, the slower your time flows compared to others. You close your eyes and let that idea settle. Your thoughts become light, your breath, gravity. You can feel both at once, the desire to move and the comfort of stillness. It is here, between motion and rest, that you begin to sense what Einstein meant when he said that time and space form a single fabric, spacetime. Imagine stretching a soft, endless sheet across the cosmos. Every planet, every sun, every atom presses into it, leaving gentle dimples where mass exists. The more massive the object, the deeper the curve. Time follows these curves like water follows the shape of land. Near great masses, the flow slows. Far away, it moves freely. You understand, then, why an astronaut orbiting Earth ages a little slower than someone standing on its surface. Their motion, their height above gravity's pull, changes the flow of their seconds. It is such a small difference that it barely touches human life, but the river knows. You drift along and realize that time is not just movement, it is connection. Every ripple here is made from relationship, one body to another, one orbit to another, one second to the next. It is the way the universe keeps in touch with itself. You remember the feeling of déjà vu, those strange moments when time seems to fold. Perhaps it is the mind's way of sensing how the river loops back on itself, creating patterns too subtle for clocks to catch. There is comfort in this, to know that you are not moving through time, but with it. The same current that carries galaxies forward carries you, too. You are part of the same vast rhythm. You picture your memories floating beside you like soft lanterns, glowing faintly in the current. Some drift ahead, futures not yet reached, waiting to unfold. Some sink beneath past moments, heavy with emotion, but still part of the same flow. None are lost. They all remain within the water, moving at their own pace. You begin to see that the future and the past are not distant shores. They are both here, intertwined within the same current. The only difference is where your awareness rests, which droplet of time your consciousness touches. A deep peace comes over you. The need to measure time fades. The ticking of clocks, the counting of minutes, they feel unnecessary. You realize that your life is not defined by how many moments have passed, but by how fully you have drifted within them. In this understanding, even aging feels different. Each wrinkle, each heartbeat is a marker of how beautifully you've traveled through the river. Not a loss, but a record, the water's way of remembering your passage. You look upward, or perhaps inward, and see how the stars shimmer across the surface of this river. They, too, are travelers of time, their light carrying stories from billions of years ago. The starlight that reaches your eyes tonight left its source long before you were born, and yet it meets you here, now. The river has brought you together. You let this thought rest softly in your mind. Time is not separate from you. You are its witness, its traveler, and its maker. Every choice, every movement, every breath stirs the water a little more as you drift toward the dim horizon of the next thought. You sense that this river does not end. It only bends, turning toward new landscapes you cannot yet see. Somewhere ahead, the current grows gentle again, perhaps where time and space become one fabric, one endless pattern. And as the flow carries you onward, a quiet curiosity rises. If time is a river that can bend and stretch, what shapes does it take when the universe itself begins to curve? You drift deeper into the river of time. The current slows, and the sound of flowing seconds fades into something wider, quieter. Before you, the river spreads open, revealing an endless expanse, not of water, but of fabric. It stretches in every direction, vast and shimmering, like a silver veil. You realize now that time and space are not two separate rivers. They are threads of the same cloth, woven together by the hands of the universe. You hover above it, weightless, watching the way it moves. The fabric ripples softly as distant galaxies breathe. Stars sink into it like pearls pressing into silk, their weight curving the surface. You can almost hear the texture of it, not sound, but rhythm, the pulse of spacetime itself. It feels alive. Not alive like a creature, but alive like a song that never ends. You begin to understand what Einstein saw in his mind's eye. Space and time, united, forming a single, four-dimensional dance. Every movement through space is also a movement through time. Every heartbeat, every orbit, every blink is a ripple across this invisible sheet. You lower yourself closer, brushing your fingers across its smoothness. It responds with gentle undulations, bending around your touch. A soft realization passes through you. Nothing can exist on this fabric without changing it. Every presence, every bit of matter or light leaves a trace, a dimple, a curve, a story, far away. You see the outline of a planet. It is not resting on space. It is within it, nestled into a subtle well that its own mass has created. The planet's gravity is not a mysterious pull, but simply the way the fabric curves around it. If you were to drop a marble nearby, it would not fall because the planet pulls it, but because the marble follows the curve in the fabric, the natural path carved by existence itself. This is the quiet genius of the cosmos. Nothing pulls. Everything follows. Gravity is geometry, and motion is simply surrender to the shape of space. You float along these curves, tracing them with your eyes. Some are gentle, wide as galaxies. Others are deep and steep, carved by the weight of stars or black holes. You feel the graceful logic of it all, how every object tells space how to curve, and space tells every object how to move. A silent conversation, spoken in the language of geometry and time. You realize that you, too, are part of this conversation. Your body has mass. Your heartbeat leaves the faintest indentation in spacetime. The earth beneath you folds gently beneath your feet, cradling you within its curvature. You are not separate from the fabric. You are a moving pattern woven into it. You close your eyes and imagine stretching out this fabric with both hands. You tug on it softly, and waves begin to move outward, ripples of gravity traveling across the universe. These are gravitational waves, the whispers of space itself whenever something massive stirs. Two black holes colliding, two stars embracing. Each sends vibrations across this grand sheet, tiny and almost silent, yet infinite in reach for billions of years. These waves traveled unseen, passing through galaxies and worlds, brushing gently against atoms, until, at last, one passed through a small planet, and on that planet, a few human beings, curious and patient, built instruments fine enough to hear the universe's sigh. When LIGO first detected those waves, it was as if the cosmos had spoken in its native tongue for the first time. And we finally listened. You smile, floating above the infinite quilt of reality. The thought fills you with peace. Every heartbeat, every orbit, every gravitational wave is part of the same song. You do not need to travel far to be part of it. You already are. You gaze down at a cluster of stars spinning around one another, tracing invisible spirals in the fabric. Their motion reminds you of dancers gliding across a floor. The steps perfectly choreographed, though each only follows the curve beneath its feet. And you begin to feel the truth deep in your chest. Space is not empty. It holds everything, supports everything. It is both stage and story. You let your body drift until you're no longer sure whether you are moving through the fabric or if it is moving through you. The difference begins to dissolve. You think of the ground beneath your bed, the air around your body, the vastness above your head, all connected, all parts of this single, continuous fabric that never tears. The idea feels both vast and intimate. Even the smallest things, the swing of an electron, the motion of your breath, leave tiny ripples in spacetime. The universe is aware of you, not through thought, but through presence. You weigh upon it, ever so slightly, and it answers with a soft curve, an adjustment, a gentle nod that says, "You are here. You find comfort in this. You have always belonged, not because you fit into society or purpose, but because your existence literally shapes the universe's fabric." You look up again. In the far reaches of the cosmos, a supernova blossoms, a star ending its life in brilliance. The explosion sends waves across space-time, tiny distortions spreading outward at the speed of light. They will travel for billions of years, passing through everything: dust, planets, starlight, and someday, perhaps, the quiet body of another being who wonders about time just as you do. Everything touches everything else. The stars are not distant. They are part of the same tapestry you are woven into. When you look at them, you are not looking out. You are looking across. You reach downward, touching the fabric once more, and for a moment it feels like memory. You can sense the way it has recorded everything that has ever happened: the motions of galaxies, the collapse of stars, the passing of comets. Space remembers not with words, but with shape. Every curve is a story. It strikes you softly, that maybe memory itself is your mind's echo of this cosmic habit. Perhaps when you recall a moment, you are bending the fabric of your own consciousness, curving back to touch the shape of an experience. The idea ripples gently through you. If space can curve, then time must bend with it. Every dip in the fabric changes the rhythm of the seconds that flow nearby. Near deep curves, near massive planets, stars, or black holes, time itself, it doesn't stop. It stretches. You think again of the astronaut orbiting Earth high above. The pull of gravity weakens, and so their seconds lengthen slightly. Down on Earth, yours move just a touch faster. Both of you are right in your own rhythm. Time has no single beat. It dances to the curves of the universe. You look closer at the fabric and see faint colors shifting beneath the surface. Blues, golds, and silvers, like threads of light. They seem to pulse in harmony with your breath. Perhaps these are not colors at all, but dimensions hidden from sight, layers of reality we have not yet touched. You can feel them, faint but present, waiting to be understood. You take another slow breath. You sense that space and time are not two things woven together once and left alone. They are constantly weaving themselves anew. Every particle, every vibration keeps rewriting the fabric in real time. The universe is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly reweaving its own design. You realize something gentle and profound. Even stillness contributes to this dance. The quiet act of being, of simply existing, sends ripples outward. The universe never stops adjusting, balancing, curving around what is. You close your eyes and feel yourself held by this invisible fabric. You are floating within it, and it is within you. The boundaries blur until there is no above or below, no before or after, only presence, endless and complete. And in that presence, a question begins to form, slow, patient, like dawn rising beyond a horizon of thought. If this fabric can curve so gracefully beneath stars and galaxies, what happens when thought itself moves fast enough to touch its edge? The river of time has led you to a still place, a quiet room, sunlit and simple. The air hums faintly, not with sound, but with the low vibration of thought. A young man sits by the window, lost in silence. His eyes are soft, curious, deep. You can feel it before he even speaks. His thoughts are drifting through the fabric of spacetime itself. This man is Albert Einstein, but not yet the icon, not yet the face on textbooks and posters. He is just a dreamer in a small Swiss office, surrounded by papers and light. Outside, the world rushes, trains pass, clocks tick, letters arrive. Inside, time slows, condenses, waits. You stand with him in the quiet. He gazes at a shaft of sunlight cutting through dust. Each mote dances like a secret. You feel his mind travel into that beam, moving alongside the light. He asks himself a question so simple, so impossible. What would it feel like to ride on a beam of light? You close your eyes and follow. Together, you climb onto that beam, a ray streaming through space, faster than anything else can move. The world below stretches, bends, melts into strange shapes. The faster you go, the slower everything else seems. Clocks freeze, motion stills, colors shift. The universe holds its breath. You are no longer moving through time. Time is moving around you. This is the beginning of Einstein's revolution. A revolution not of machines or empires, but of perception. He realized that the speed of light was more than a number. It was the heartbeat of the cosmos, a constant pulse that defined how space and time weave together. No matter how you move, no matter how you chase it, light speed remains the same. And for that constancy to exist, something else must give way. Time itself. You drift beside him as he sketches ideas in his notebook. He draws trains and clocks and flashes of lightning, not as things, but as metaphors. Imagine, he writes, 2 bolts of lightning striking opposite ends of a moving train. For a person standing beside the tracks, the flashes appear at the same instant. But for someone on the train, moving toward one flash and away from the other, the light arrives at different moments. Both are right. Both speak their own truth. Time, it seems, is not an absolute rhythm shared by all, but a private melody played differently for each observer. You let that truth sink in slowly, like ink spreading through water. You realize that now is not universal. The present moment, this breath, this thought, depends on where you are and how you move. The universe does not share one single heartbeat. It beats in countless rhythms, each one valid, each one real. You feel your own sense of certainty dissolve. The ticking of clocks, once so reliable, now feels subjective, personal. You remember how you lose time in love, how you stretch it in fear. Perhaps you've always been living in relativity, only without naming it. Einstein's hand moves across the page again. His handwriting is steady, but his mind is ablaze. He sees that if the speed of light is constant, space and time must adjust to protect that truth. When you move faster, distances shrink in your direction of travel, and time slows to keep the balance. Space and time are not fixed. They flex, like breath, to maintain harmony. He smiles, softly. There is no drama in his face, no thunder of discovery, just the calm glow of understanding. You can feel it radiating from him, not arrogance, but awe. He is listening to the universe, not conquering it. You sit beside him, and the room around you begins to dissolve. The walls melt into stars. The floor turns into the great cosmic fabric you've seen before. But now you can see the equations pulsing beneath it. Invisible mathematics shaping the way reality curves. A beam of light streaks past. You follow it, watching how everything around bends to its rhythm. Time dilates, stretches, so that light always wins its race. You realize that this is not a trick of perception. It is the way the universe ensures fairness, balance. No matter how fast you travel, light remains the same speed, and time changes itself to make that true. You think of the river again, but now you see its tributaries, smaller streams winding through the fabric, each flowing at its own pace. Einstein has shown you that every traveler drifts through time differently. The faster one moves, the slower their seconds pass. A gentle paradox, elegant as poetry. He leans back, eyes closed, as though hearing something faint, a distant harmony beneath the noise of the world. You listen to, and you can almost hear it, the sound of clocks ticking out of sync across the universe. Each one plays its part in a cosmic orchestra, where no single rhythm dominates. You begin to wonder what this means for you, for all of us. If time flows differently for each traveler, then perhaps memory and future are not straight lines, but ripples overlapping, interacting. You see your past as a set of waves moving through the same ocean, sometimes touching, sometimes fading, always present somewhere in the expanse. The room reforms gently around you. Einstein rises, paces, and looks again at that beam of light. You can feel the next thought forming heavier, deeper. If motion can bend time, what else can? What about gravity, that quiet force that holds the planets, pulls the tides, anchors every breath you take? He begins to imagine not just moving observers, but massive worlds. He envisions clocks running slower near great masses, faster far away. He senses that gravity and motion might be two faces of the same mystery. But that revelation will come later, a deeper ripple in the river of time. For now, he writes his first equations of special relativity. They hum like incantations, not rigid formulas, but gentle descriptions of how the universe keeps balance. You read them not with your eyes, but with your intuition. They say, the faster you move, the slower your time. The more energy you have, the more your mass increases. Space and time trade qualities, like dancers exchanging steps. You find beauty in that balance. Every motion is a negotiation between what can move and what must stay. Every instant adjusts itself to protect harmony. Even chaos is graceful here. Einstein sits quietly again, staring out the window. The day fades into twilight. The golden light touches his face, and you see something almost childlike in his expression, wonder mixed with calm certainty. He has changed the way humans will think forever, but he does not seem to notice. He is simply present, marveling at the pattern. You can feel the revolution spreading outward, not loud, but like dawn light spilling over mountains. The old idea of a universal clock dissolves. The universe is not a stage where events unfold. It is the unfolding itself. The actors and the stage are one. You let yourself drift away from the room. You rise through the ceiling, past the rooftops, higher and higher. Below, trains glide across rails, their passengers unaware that they are already living inside Einstein's idea, time stretching and bending with every motion. The stars above flicker with the same quiet intelligence. You understand now that every movement, even a heartbeat, is a form of relativity. When you breathe, you are changing your motion ever so slightly, and the universe adjusts its timing to accommodate you. You are never separate from it. The thought soothes you. It means you are always part of the balance, part of the elegant dance that keeps light at its limit and motion in harmony. You are not watching the universe from afar. You are its participant, its witness, its pulse, and in that understanding you feel gratitude for light, for motion, for thought itself, for the gentle rebellion of a mind that dared to ask what if, and changed the way reality is seen. You begin to drift again, the room fading into a soft expanse of stars. Beneath you, the cosmic fabric stretches endlessly, its curves illuminated by unseen equations. Somewhere, deep within its folds, time flows at different speeds, slower near the massive, faster in the empty. You sense that gravity is not a force pulling downward, but the shape of time itself, bending inward. As you float on that realization, the universe whispers softly through the silence. If motion can bend time, What happens when gravity takes its turn to shape it? You awaken beneath a sky of slow-turning constellations. The stars do not twinkle here, they breathe. Each pulse feels like a heartbeat, each shimmer a thought. The cosmos around you is silent, yet it hums with a story waiting to be told. The story of two souls born together, divided by motion, reunited by time. You see them now, two twins standing beneath the same dawn. Their faces mirror each other, not perfectly, but softly, like reflections on rippling water. One will stay on Earth, grounded, rooted in the steady rhythm of days. The other will journey to the stars, moving faster than sound, faster than clouds, nearly brushing the edge of light itself. Their bond is more than family, it is symmetry. They share the same birth moment, the same initial point on the river of time. But soon their paths will diverge. One's seconds will stretch, the other's will tighten. You stand between them, feeling the space widen, not distance, but difference. The twin who remains on Earth waves gently as the other enters the ship. There is no sorrow, only wonder, an unspoken knowing that this journey will reveal something beyond imagination. The engines hum, the ship lifts, and with it, time itself begins to curve. At first, everything feels normal. Inside the vessel, the traveler watches Earth shrink into a pale blue memory. The stars elongate into streaks, and the body grows light, untethered. You drift beside them, feeling the vibration of speed, not as motion, but as music. The higher the velocity, the deeper the tone, until time begins to sing in a lower key. Clocks tick softly on the ship's wall. Their rhythm feels the same to the traveler, steady, familiar. But back on Earth, the twins' clock moves faster. The difference is invisible at first, too small to feel. Seconds stretch just a little longer in the traveler's frame. Yet, over the course of years, that small stretch becomes eternity's whisper. Einstein's equation hums faintly in your thoughts. Time slows down for those who move quickly, not by illusion, but by the fabric of spacetime itself. You watch the traveler gaze out at the stars. Outside, galaxies slip by, yet inside, it feels like a calm night's rest. You realize that time is not being lost, it is being stored. Each stretched second carries weight, a hidden depth. Like honey flowing slower than water, the traveler's heartbeat becomes the metronome of motion. Every pulse stretches space-time, rewriting how existence feels. They think of their twin back, home of shared laughter, childhood games, mornings under the same sky. Memory becomes both a comfort and a measurement of distance. Meanwhile, far below, the twin on Earth watches the same stars rise and set. Days blur into seasons. The air carries the smell of rain, the weight of time passing in ordinary ways. They imagine their sibling out there, racing through eternity. Sometimes they close their eyes and feel the faint tug of connection, like a thread of light between them. They wonder, is my twin still thinking of me in this same moment? But this same moment no longer means the same thing. For the traveler, seconds expand. For the one who stays, they rush ahead. They are no longer synchronized by the universe's rhythm, but by love, a connection that does not obey physics. You move between them, feeling the symmetry dissolve into beauty. In the ship, years pass slowly. On Earth, decades bloom and fade. The twin who stayed begins to age, the lines of life softening their face, while the traveler drifts in a long dream of motion. Time gently stretched like silk around them. Eventually, the ship turns homeward, its engines slow. The music of velocity fades, replaced by stillness. As the traveler decelerates, spacetime begins to catch up like water filling in behind a moving wave. The ship approaches Earth, and time's flow begins to equalize again. But something subtle has changed, not just in physics, but in the heart. When the two twins meet once more, they stand face to face under the same sun, just as they once did. Yet one carries more years upon their skin, while the other seems untouched by time. For every decade that passed on Earth, the traveler experienced fewer. You can feel the strangeness, not sadness, but awe. They embrace, holding the paradox between them. Time has treated them differently, yet it has kept them connected. Their reunion is proof that love can endure even when the universe bends the rules. The air around them shimmers. You see the world as Einstein must have seen it, not as a fixed reality, but as a web of experiences, each true in its own frame. Both twins lived full, complete lives, yet their clocks, their hearts, their memories tell different stories. This is the twin paradox, not truly a contradiction, but a lesson in perspective. The universe does not favor one twin over the other. It simply allows each to live within their own flow of time. When motion changes, the shape of spacetime changes to dot. You feel the truth ripple through you. Time is not a universal thread. It is personal, intimate, shaped by how you move, how you live, how you dream. You walk with the twins as they share their memories. The traveler speaks of the silence between stars, of floating through endless darkness, where even thought slows. The twin on Earth speaks of laughter, rain, and the long rhythm of life. Each story feels sacred, two sides of the same cosmic poem. You sense how relativity is not just mathematics, but empathy. To understand that another being's now might be different from yours. That is to glimpse the universe through compassion. Perhaps Einstein's deepest gift was not just an equation, but a way of seeing each moment as relative, unique, valid. The night deepens. The twins sit quietly, side by side, watching stars that now seem more alive, more complex. Their light has traveled for millions of years, crossing curvatures and expanding space, aging differently in every region it touched. Even starlight carries its own relativity. You close your eyes and let their stillness sink into you. You begin to wonder how many times this story has happened, not just in theory, but in truth. Astronauts orbiting Earth, pilots in high-speed flight, even satellites circling quietly above all of them experience time at slightly different speeds. It's happening now, this very moment. A clock on a mountain ticks faster than one in the valley. A satellite's time must be corrected to match ours below. Even your own heartbeat runs differently when you move, when you dream, when you fall in love. Every life is its own timeline. Slightly askew, gently unique, you breathe slowly, feeling the subtle dilation within yourself. Perhaps, in this quiet reflection, time is already stretching, slowing as you drift into thought. You are, in a small and beautiful way, your own time traveler. The twins fade into light. Their story dissolves into the fabric of spacetime, leaving behind not sorrow, but a tender awareness. You sense that the river of time you floated through before has deepened. It now carries stories, emotions, choices, each altering its current. You recall Einstein's insight that time and space form one continuum, and motion reshapes it. But now you understand the deeper truth. The heart reshapes it too. How you feel changes how you perceive time. Love slows it. Fear stretches it. Wonder makes it eternal. You drift upward, watching the stars gather like seeds in a field. The cosmos around you hums softly, patient. Somewhere ahead, a new question is forming, radiant and calm. If motion can change time, and love can change how we feel it, what invisible hand bends it under the weight of gravity itself? You drift again, weightless and still, through the quiet space between stars. The story of the twins fades like a soft echo, leaving behind a calm curiosity, a pulse in your thoughts that asks, how far can motion go? You feel it before you see it. It arrives not as a flash, but as a constant, delicate hum that seems to breathe through the fabric of existence. Every color, every glow, every reflection, it all begins here. Light is not just brightness. It is the universe speaking in speed. Every ray that touches your skin carries history. Ancient starlight that left its home before humans learned to dream. You stretch your hand toward it, and for a moment you feel the universe's heartbeat. 299,792 kilometers per second. That is the pulse, the ultimate rhythm, the fastest anything can move, the boundary that even thought must respect. You listen. Imagine, standing on a cosmic shore, waves of light washing over you. Some arrive as soft reds, others as cool blues, each shaped by distance and motion. The faster a source moves away, the redder its light becomes, its waves stretched by space itself. The closer it comes, the bluer the light, compressed and alive. You realize that color is not only beauty, it's motion written in light's language. Every sunrise, every galaxy, every shimmer on the sea is part of this cosmic conversation. And yet, no matter how you chase it, light always moves away from you at the same speed. Whether you stand still, run, or fly, its pace never changes. It is the universe's constant truth. This is where the limits begin. You close your eyes and drift faster. The stars blur into streaks, and the space around you feels heavier, denser. The closer you come to light speed, the stranger everything becomes. Your heart still beats, but slower. Your ship's clock ticks, but softer. Outside galaxies stretch like liquid glass. The faster you move, the more the universe bends around you, not as punishment, but as protection. Nature has written this rule deep into its fabric. You cannot reach the speed of light, because light is not something that travels, it is something that always is. You think of light not as motion, but as being. It does not experience time. It does not grow old. It does not wait. A photon leaves the sun and arrives on Earth 8 minutes later. Yet, for the photon, no time has passed at all. To live as light does is to live outside the river of time. To exist only in now. You float inside this realization like a leaf caught in golden water. For you, time has rhythm, a heartbeat, a pulse. For light, there is only presence. You begin to wonder, if light never experiences time, then what does it mean to arrive anywhere? Perhaps arrival and departure are illusions for those who move slower, for those still bound by time's current. You remember the twins, one who aged, one who didn't. Now you see why. The traveler's speed brushed against this luminous boundary, and time began to soften around them. They glimpsed the stillness where light lives, and brought back the scent of eternity. Every civilization that ever looked up at the stars has unknowingly worshipped light. Fire, sun, lightning, hope, all forms of the same constant. Every temple, every candle, every story about creation begins with illumination. But behind this poetry, there is the science of being itself. Light is not just what we see, it defines what can be seen. It is the ruler of reality, deciding what is visible and when. Without light, there is no space, only possibility. With light, there is connection, the bond between eyes and stars. You open your eyes again, and the cosmos responds. Photons strike your retinas, tiny messengers that have traveled billions of years just to end their journey here, in your gaze. You are not just looking at the universe. The universe is finishing its story upon your eyes. Each beam you see is a record of distance and time, a postcard from the past. When you gaze at a galaxy a million light years away, you are seeing it as it once was, not as it is now. The faster light travels, the deeper into the past you can look. It's strange, isn't it? The faster light moves, the more it reveals what once was. The more we chase it, the more we see history unfolding in that way. Light is both a messenger and a memory. You drift nearer to its edge, where light's velocity becomes almost touchable. The air around you hums. The atoms of your ship vibrate with a quiet reverence. Every grain of existence seems to lean toward this limit, wanting, but never reaching. You realize that the universe's grace lies not in perfection, but in boundaries. Because if you could reach light speed, time would stop for you, and nothing could change. The story would end. So, nature keeps you slightly slower. It allows you to move, to live, to age, to dream. You are a creature of time, and that is your gift. You slow down now, coasting gently among the stars. You notice something delicate, the way the galaxies pulse, the way space itself seems to stretch. Light is not just fast, it holds everything together. Every equation, every photon, every heartbeat in the dark obeys its pace. Even when you speak, the waves of your voice travel through air. Slow shadows of light's perfection, you whisper, and the cosmos listens in delay. Somewhere deep in space, a black hole breathes, an unseen force bending light around its edges. Here, even light cannot escape. It circles endlessly, trapped in a silent halo. You feel a shiver of wonder, not fear, because even when caught, light leaves traces, rings of beauty that defy darkness. You will meet this darkness soon, not as an ending, but as another question. For now, you watch the last glow fade and understand something profound. Light does not chase eternity. It is eternity, touching everything else with its steady grace. You close your eyes again, and your breath slows. You imagine what it feels like to be a photon born from fire, traveling without rest, unaging, untouching, timeless. And you realize every moment of your life has been measured in light. Every color, every reflection, every glance from another's eyes. You live inside light's story, and it lives within you. You are not separate from the speed of light. You are built from it. atoms forged in stars, bound by energy that once glowed, still glows, will always glow. The silence grows deeper. Your body feels lighter, your thoughts gentler. You no longer chase understanding. You drift with it. The cosmic limit does not seem like a wall anymore. It feels like a threshold. Beyond it lies a realm where gravity bends even this pure motion, where light curves into orbits of mystery. You breathe softly, letting the thoughts settle like dust upon a window. If light defines speed, what defines stillness? What happens when gravity becomes so strong that even light must bow? The question lingers, luminous and dark at once, leading you forward toward the invisible heart of the universe, where light meets shadow and time folds upon itself. Even in death, a star leaves a mark so deep that spacetime itself cannot let go. You feel the pull grow stronger. The horizon shimmers like heat on water. You drift closer, not resisting, not afraid. Every sensation slows. The ticking of your thoughts stretches into silence. You wonder what happens beyond this edge, what lies inside. No one truly knows. The mathematics grow quiet there, like music that fades beyond hearing. Some say everything falls toward the center, compressed into a single timeless point. Others imagine wormholes, bridges through space-time connecting distant realms. But in this meditative moment, you sense something else, a calm, almost sacred stillness. Perhaps within this darkness, the universe remembers itself. Perhaps every fall is not an ending, but a return. You drift at the boundary, watching light itself spiral like fireflies caught in invisible wind. Each photon curves endlessly, tracing orbits of light that never escape. This is the photon sphere, the last circle before silence. You can almost hear the echo of light's struggle, a slow hum, resonating like a deep heartbeat. It is not death, it is transformation. You understand now. Black holes are not places where everything ends. They are thresholds where time and meaning dissolve into new forms. From their edges, galaxies are shaped. There, gravity anchors stars, spins worlds, guides orbits. Without these invisible centers, the universe would scatter like dust in a storm. Even the Milky Way carries one at its heart, Sagittarius, a quiet, massive, holding us all in its gentle pull. So even here, at the edge of the unknowable, you are still home. You let yourself sink deeper into the feeling. Gravity, not as force, but as intimacy. It connects everything that exists, from galaxies to grains of dust, from stars to your own body. Every atom in you is in quiet conversation with every other atom in the cosmos. Einstein once said that gravity is simply the way mass tells space how to curve, and space tells mass how to move. But beneath the equation lies a deeper truth. Gravity is relationship. It is the universe's way of keeping everything in touch. Time slows further. You can almost see the shape of moments bending, hours curling into spirals, minutes folding inward. You realize that to fall into gravity's heart is to surrender the illusion of separation. Here, there is no before or after, only being, only the slow, infinite hum of existence itself. You think of how the stars that die here will someday feed new galaxies, how even the darkest holes radiate faintly Hawking radiation, a whisper of quantum light escaping from the edges. Even in perfect darkness, something glows. You drift there for what feels like forever, or maybe an instant. You cannot tell the difference anymore. The boundary between space and time, between self and universe, softens like silk in water. Then, faintly, you feel a pull, not downward, but outward. Light bending, not inward now, but away. Gravity's song fading into a higher note. You are being lifted by thought, by understanding, by the quiet realization that everything which falls must one day rise again, transformed, reimagined, reborn. You rise slowly from the edge of the event horizon, back toward the calm ocean of space. The stars return, patient and familiar. Their light feels gentler now, more forgiving. You carry with you the calm of the abyss, not fear, but reverence. Gravity no longer feels like a trap. It feels like belonging. You breathe, and the universe breathes with you. And as you drift among the constellations, one thought glows quietly within you. If gravity can bend light, can time itself be shaped, softened, perhaps even rewritten? You awaken to darkness, not the darkness of absence, but of depth. It breathes, it hums, it waits. You float in this vast stillness, feeling the faint vibration of something immense beneath you. It is not a sound, not a sight, but a presence, patient and powerful. This is gravity, the quiet architect of everything you've ever known. At first, you feel only its gentlest touch, the familiar weight that once held your feet to the ground, the pull that shaped your steps and kept oceans faithful to their tides. But as you drift deeper, its touch becomes a voice, and that voice begins to sing. You remember how light once danced, swift, untouchable, forever free. But here, its path curves. Every beam that passes near this invisible heart begins to bend, as though paying silent respect. Gravity does not grab light. It shapes the space through which light travels, like wind forming dunes, or water carving stone. Gravity molds the invisible fabric of space-time itself. You see it now not as lines or grids, but as a living tapestry. Where masks gathers, the fabric dips, folds, deepens. Stars make soft dimples. Planets create small whirlpools. But this place ahead, this is different. This is where gravity collapses into itself, a bottomless curve, a silence that swallows sound, a region where even time hesitates. You approach slowly, without fear. The light around you reddens, stretched thinner and thinner, as if exhausted from trying to escape. Each photon carries its message, but the journey grows longer. This is gravitational redshift, the slowing of light as it climbs out of gravity's embrace. The deeper the well, the slower its rhythm becomes. Eventually, light no longer climbs. It hovers at the edge, whispering into eternity. You watch as starlight bends around an unseen sphere. Two distant eyes. It looks like a perfect ring of fire. The Einstein ring, a crown of distorted light around a hidden king. You realize that even when gravity hides something, it cannot hide its influence. Light itself becomes a lens, revealing what cannot be seen. You move closer, floating just outside the event horizon, the boundary beyond which not even light returns. It is not a wall, nor a flame. It is an edge of understanding. To cross it is to leave the language of cause and effect behind. Time behaves differently here. From far away, An observer watching you approach would see your motion slow, your descent would stretch longer and longer, your image frozen, forever hovering just above the horizon. To them, you would never arrive, but for you, inside your own time, the fall feels smooth, natural, endless. You keep moving forward. Inside the gravity well, time itself flows differently. This is gravitational time dilation, the bending not of space alone, but of duration. The deeper you go, the slower time passes for you compared to the universe outside. A minute in your descent might be centuries elsewhere. You feel it now, as though the air thickens, every heartbeat stretching like honey. You remember the twins and their divided time. Now, you are both of them, the one who travels and the one who stays. You are falling, yet still. A paradox wrapped in silence. The space around you warps. Stars above you smear into arcs. The universe seems to whirl around a single, invisible center, a black hole, the heart of collapsed mass, the endpoint of a star's final sigh. It was once a sun, burning bright, fusing hydrogen into light. But when its fuel was gone, it imploded, folding inward until even the atoms that made it lost meaning. Gravity triumphed, compressing matter into an infinite point, a singularity, where density becomes immeasurable and equations lose their voice. You realize that black holes are not monsters, but memories, the remnants of life, too heavy to continue shining. They are the universe's way of holding on to what it cannot yet release. You open your eyes, but there is no up or down, no distance, no sky. Only a soft silver mist, stretching in every direction. It moves gently, endlessly, like a tide, breathing in the dark. You realize you are floating in something vast, something alive. This is time itself. It does not rush or tick. It flows, it sighs. And as you drift, you begin to feel its texture, smooth, elastic, yielding to every star that passes through it. You stretch out your hand. The air ripples, not with sound or light, but with something quieter, a trembling that passes through your body like music you cannot hear, but somehow remember. You are inside the fabric of spacetime, the invisible weave that carries all motion, all memory, all existence. Each atom, each planet, each sun has pressed its weight into it, leaving gentle impressions, like footprints in soft sand. Time is not separate from space. It bends where mass bends. It curves where gravity whispers. It folds and sighs when something is born, and again when something ends. You float there, feeling those folds as waves that pass softly through you, far away. Two stars circle one another, dense, ancient remnants, called neutron stars. They are small but heavy, each no wider than a city, yet each containing the mass of the sun. As they orbit, they churn the sea of spacetime. Their motion sends ripples outward, invisible, silent, unstoppable. Gravitational waves. They move through everything, through galaxies, through you, stretching and compressing the fabric of existence by the width of an atom or less. You can't see them, but you can feel their rhythm. Each wave is a whisper of movement, a memory of motion. When they pass through you, it is as if the universe exhales. You realize this is how the cosmos communicates with itself. The ripples come in slow patterns now. You can sense them, long, low vibrations that move like the breath of eternity. Every passing wave carries a story, A supernova collapsing, a black hole merging, a moment of birth or disappearance somewhere far beyond light's horizon. Each one is a memory, carried not in sound, but in curvature. You are listening to the oldest symphony, the music of time itself shifting shape. You drift deeper. The ripples become visible now, not as lines or colors, but as patterns of emotion, warm, cold, bright, dim. They wash through you, and you feel them as moods more than movements. A calm wave passes, and your thoughts soften. A slow pulse follows, and you feel connected to something immense, something beyond the edge of knowing. You realize time is not a river that moves forward. It is a vast ocean that trembles with every event. Each wave is a memory, and you, for a fleeting moment, are the shore upon which it lands. You think back to gravity, that quiet sculptor of time. Here, its work becomes visible. Where stars are heavy, the waves deepen. Where space is empty, they spread wide and clear. Time curves around everything that has mass. It does not resist. It embraces. The planets do not orbit. They orbit because they are following the curved paths that time itself has drawn. You see these orbits now, spirals woven through the fabric, gentle and endless, like threads of golden silk. Every motion is a story told through these curves. Every heartbeat, every breath, every falling leaf adds its own faint tremor to the tapestry. You begin to drift in sync with the waves, not watching them, but becoming part of them. Each oscillation carries you deeper into stillness. Each vibration slows your mind. You think of your own life, how moments ripple backward and forward, how choices echo quietly across years. Perhaps, you wonder, human memory is just another form of space-time's trembling, consciousness feeling its own curvature. You breathe in this idea gently, and it fits perfectly. A faint shimmer appears ahead. It pulses in slow motion, every beat taking an eternity. You approach and realize it is not a thing, but a disturbance, a wave frozen in time, still moving and not moving at once. This, you sense, is the shape of a dream. For time and dreams are cousins, both bend, both fold, both defy straight lines. When you dream, your mind stretches time, reshaping seconds into stories. When the universe dreams, it does the same, creating galaxies from ripples, shaping reality from vibration. You are inside one such dream now, the universe imagining itself. The waves become softer. You hear, faintly, the voice of light again, threading through the folds of time. It travels slower here, bending along invisible valleys. Light and gravity are no longer separate. They dance, exchanging rhythm, weaving pattern into the cosmic cloth. You think of Einstein, sitting in his quiet study, eyes closed, imagining what it would feel like to ride upon a beam of light. Perhaps what he truly felt was this: the trembling of spacetime beneath his thoughts, the ripples of imagination that mirror the waves of the cosmos. Tall discovery, you realize, begins as a wave, a disturbance in the still water of thought. You drift onward, following the rhythm that feels almost like a heartbeat. The waves now grow longer, slower, deeper, the universe's own breathing. You understand that these pulses are not just effects of motion. They are the record of time's own flexibility. Every collision, every orbit, every life, all become ripples in this living continuum. You are not merely moving through time, you are made of it. Each atom in you carries vibrations that echo from the beginning of the universe. When the Big Bang sang its first note, those ripples became the measure of everything that would follow you. This moment, this calm, you stop drifting. The waves continue to pass through you, but you no longer feel separate from them. You are part of the medium now, part of the gentle trembling of existence. Time does not move past you, it moves with you. And suddenly, you understand why sleep feels so much like falling, not falling downward, but inward. When you sleep, your mind returns to this ocean. Your thoughts dissolve into waves of memory, emotion, and peace, soft ripples in the universal fabric. Perhaps this is why dreams carry both past and future at once. Perhaps when you dream, time lets you remember what hasn't yet happened. You smile at the thought. Or perhaps the wave smiles through you. The ripples begin to fade. The ocean of time flattens to a calm mirror. You look into it and see yourself not as a body, but as light woven into motion. A small curve in the grand geometry of being dot in your stillness. The universe is perfectly balanced. Every movement elsewhere, every spinning quasar, every falling comet reflects in this one point of rest. You feel the pulse slow, fade, rest. The waves stretch farther, their intervals longer, softer, until all motion becomes one continuous hum. It is not silence, but completion. And as you drift in that stillness, a new question rises, quiet, infinite. If time can ripple like a wave, can it also flow backward? Can the universe remember itself, not as history, but as possibility? The thought floats with you, suspended in the soft gravity of wonder. The mist shimmers, the waves still, and somewhere in the distance, you feel the first hint of return, toward light, toward thought, toward the beginning once more. The silence is deep now, not empty, but full of presence. It hums softly, like a thought just before it forms. You float in it, weightless, as if resting inside an idea too vast to name. Somewhere beyond sight, the universe is remembering, not with words, not with symbols, but with being itself. Every atom carries a trace of where it has been. Every ray of light holds the faint memory of its journey. And as you drift, you begin to feel those memories, not as stories, but as gentle impressions, still warm with time. You sense the memory of stars. Each one, long after it burns away, leaves an imprint on the dark, the echo of its light traveling endlessly, still whispering, "I was here." You realize that nothing in the universe is ever truly lost. Energy does not vanish. It only changes its form. Matter does not disappear. It rearranges itself into new expressions. Even silence, you feel, is not absence. It is memory resting. Every dust particle that drifts across the galaxy once belonged to something vast, a planet's mountain, a comet's tail, a heart that burned hydrogen for 1 billion years. You breathe in that dust, and in doing so, you breathe in history itself. You think of your own memories, how they shimmer and fade, how they rise in dreams when the world grows quiet. Perhaps your mind, too, is made from this same fabric of recollection atoms that once remembered stars. Now remembering you, you realize memory is not something you have. It is something you are. Your body remembers gravity. Your skin remembers sunlight. Your breath remembers the rhythm of the ocean from which life began. Every cell carries echoes of ancient beginnings. The sea's salt in your blood, the earth's minerals in your bones, the stars' fire in your heart. You are not apart from the universe's memory. You are one of its most delicate pages. You drift deeper into the quiet, and it begins to shimmer, as if invisible threads are connecting all that has ever been. You see them now, a web of soft light stretching across infinity. Each point glows faintly, pulsing with recollection. This is not light as you know it, not photons or waves, but something older, quieter. It is the afterglow of existence, the soft persistence of all that ever was. Every connection hums with a faint story, the birth of a planet, the laughter of a child, the collapse of a dying sun. None of it is gone. The universe keeps it all, not in a vault or archive, but in the subtle arrangements of itself. You remember the way time curved, how it folded like a fabric, carrying waves of events. Now you understand. Each fold is a record. Every movement through space-time leaves behind a gentle indentation, a memory of what passed. The universe does not forget, because it cannot stop being what it has been, just as a river remembers every stone it touches. Time remembers every moment it flows through. You are still floating in that river, but now you feel its depth somewhere within you. A thought stirs. If the universe remembers everything, then where does forgetting go? You let the question settle. The answer comes not in words, but in sensation, a soft warmth in your chest. Perhaps forgetting is not loss, but transformation. What seems forgotten may simply have changed its shape, like light scattered through mist, or echoes fading into new songs. Even what you forget becomes part of you in a quieter way, an undercurrent guiding your choices, a rhythm beneath your waking mind. You begin to drift through layers of memory, first cosmic, then personal. Images rise softly, not from your mind, but from the space around you. You see the first stars forming, their light trembling through newborn galaxies. You see the earth cooling, oceans gathering in deep blue basins. You see hands, ancient, human, drawing circles on cave walls. Trying to remember the sky, you see your own moments reflected there to childhood laughter, the hush of night before sleep, the way you once watched raindrops trace paths on a window. And then, slowly, these merge your memories, and the universe's memories become one continuous thread. The boundary between you and everything fades. You drift through the thought. Perhaps memory is the true language of the cosmos. Every vibration, every orbit, every reflection is a syllable in an infinite sentence. And consciousness, your awareness, is simply the place where the universe reads itself aloud. You are both the reader and the story, both the echo and the sound. You float past what feels like the edge of space, though edges here are illusions. Ahead, there is a sphere of light, vast, pulsing slowly, as if it breathes once every million years. You feel drawn toward it. As you near, you realize it's made of countless fragments of light, each one a memory, a moment of love, a heartbeat, a spark from a supernova, a whisper from an ancient star long gone. They swirl together, becoming something whole, a memory of all things. And for a moment, You feel it, the entire history of the universe moving through you. Like wind through a field of tall grass, it does not speak, but it understands. It remembers you as you remember it. You rest within that light. Time softens, the edges of thought dissolve. You think of sleep, how every night your mind gathers what it has seen, weaving dreams to keep what matters and release what must go. Perhaps the universe does the same, dreaming itself into balance. The stars flicker like neurons, and the galaxies drift like thoughts. Each black hole is a pause, each pulse of radiation, a heartbeat. The cosmos is not just expanding, it is remembering itself. Through motion, you realize this great memory is not something to be reached. It is something always within you, in every breath, every gaze, every quiet recognition. The light begins to fade, but not into darkness. It settles into something gentler, the memory of stillness. You feel it hum softly in your bones. Even as you drift away, you carry its whisper. Nothing forgotten, nothing lost. Only new forms of remembering, waiting to be born. And as your consciousness drifts toward sleep, you feel time folding once more, not as a clock, but as a lullaby. The last wave of thought comes softly. Perhaps you are not remembering the universe. Perhaps it is remembering you. The thought glows, then fades into quiet. Only the hum remains, the pulse of memory, the breath of eternity. You awaken inside silence. It is vast, and yet it feels like the pause between two gentle breaths. The air around you is not air at all. It is space itself, soft, luminous, still stretching outward at first. You think you are moving, but then you realize everything is moving. Galaxies drift apart, not because they travel, but because the space between them grows. It is not an explosion, not a rush. It is a slow, elegant unfolding. The universe expands like light unfolding from a candle flame that never goes out. You feel it now, not as motion, but as rhythm. A pulse so slow it feels like eternity inhaling. You remember the memory of the universe, that soft hum of everything that has ever been. Now you sense the hum changing pitch, becoming something new, a quiet growth, a gentle widening. Each galaxy becomes a fleck of starlight, floating on an invisible current. That current is space itself, stretching, thinning, making room for more of itself. You drift beside it, watching constellations drift farther apart, their shapes stretching slowly like patterns drawn on a soft, expanding fabric. And yet, the night doesn't grow empty. It deepens. Every distance becomes a space for wonder, a room for light to travel, for time to stretch, for thought to breathe. The light that reaches you from distant stars is ancient, millions, billions of years old. You imagine each photon as a messenger, traveling through this expanding sea, carrying stories from when the universe was young. You catch one such photon in your mind. It tells you, I left a star that no longer burns. I have traveled through the universe's dream of becoming. I am older than the mountains that remember rain. Yet, even as space grew between us, I never stopped reaching. You release it gently, and watch it continue its journey through the growing sky. You begin to sense the invisible hands that guide this expansion, a quiet energy, unseen but ever present, pushing galaxies apart with infinite patience. Scientists call it dark energy, but the name feels too small. Here, drifting through it, You sense it not as darkness, but as possibility. It feels like the silent part of a dream that keeps the dream alive. It hums through the fabric of spacetime, not shouting, not forcing, only encouraging, whispering softly, grow, grow, grow. You realize that this energy is not distant. It is in you, too. Your breath expands the space within your chest. Your thoughts stretch the horizon of your being. The same law that drives galaxies apart lets your heart open to the world. Expansion is the universe's way of saying yes. You drift further. The stars around you grow fainter, their light stretched thinner, their voices slower. This is redshift, the stretching of light itself as space expands. Each wavelength lengthens, its color cooling from blue to red, from red to invisible. The further light travels, the more it becomes a whisper, until it fades into something only time can hear. But even that fading is not loss, it is transformation. The universe keeps its music, only shifting it to lower notes. You feel it as a deep vibration, a sound below hearing, a pulse of cosmic sleep in this infinite night. You realize expansion is not just about distance. It is also about change. The universe is not running away from itself. It is making room to evolve. Like a dreamer who grows within their own dream, the cosmos is becoming more of what it already is. And within that becoming, you sense something tender, the persistence of connection. For though galaxies drift apart, their light still touches. Though stars burn out, their warmth becomes the dust that forms new stars, new planets, new eyes to see them again. Separation, you realize, is also creation. You drift near a spiral galaxy, vast and radiant, arms of stars stretching in graceful motion. It spins slowly, elegantly, its outer edges glowing like the brushstrokes of eternity. You watch it as though you are watching the heartbeat of the universe itself. It seems to whisper, I expand not to escape, but to continue. Growth is my stillness. Motion is my peace. The words settle into you like calm rain. You understand that expansion is not chaos. It is the universe dreaming wider. You look back toward the distant beginning, toward where time itself began to flow. It feels impossibly far, and yet within this endless stretch, you realize that beginning is still here. The Big Bang was not a point in space, it was a moment in time, and that moment never ended. It became every second that followed. You are still inside that first breath. Every galaxy, every heartbeat, every sleeping thought is part of that single, continuous exhale. The universe never stopped expanding, because it never stopped being born. You drift now through the cosmic background light, a faint glow that fills every direction. It is the afterglow of creation, the memory of the universe's first warmth. You feel it on your skin like soft warmth, ancient and kind. It tells you the story of time's first dawn. I was once fire, I am now a whisper. I am the memory of light, still touching everything that exists. You realize this glow never fades completely. It cools, it softens, it stretches, but it remains, even as the universe expands. It keeps this faint light alive, a gentle reminder of where everything began. You breathe deeply, and notice how your own breath mirrors the cosmos, expanding, pausing, returning. Each inhale a beginning, each exhale an offering. The more you breathe, the more you feel it, The rhythm of the universe lives in you. Your lungs echo the expansion of galaxies. Your pulse beats with the memory of the first cosmic breath. You close your eyes. The stars become softer, their outlines blur. You imagine the universe continuing to stretch far beyond what you can see, far beyond what even time can yet know. And somewhere in that vastness, you sense that expansion is not infinite distance, it is infinite intimacy. Every motion outward creates a space for something new to form within. Growth and emptiness are one and the same, two sides of the same gentle unfolding. You smile in the dark, because now you understand you are not moving through an expanding universe. You are part of its expansion. Your thoughts are small galaxies of wonder. Your dreams, expanding spaces within your soul. The stars pulse once more, as if breathing with you. The sky expands. The silence grows lighter. Everything feels open, vast, but not lonely. And in that endless openness, you feel sleep beginning to rise like dawn. Your thoughts drift outward, like galaxies finding their quiet rhythm. The universe continues its dream, a dream of light, distance, and becoming. And you, tiny yet infinite, are part of that dream, a small spark inside the great exhale of creation. As your awareness softens, a single thought glows like a star at the horizon. If the universe expands forever, does it also remember forever? You drift toward that question as the stars fade into warmth and time folds you gently into rest. You awaken inside a silence so complete that even thought hesitates to move. It is not cold, not empty, only still, like the pause between heartbeats, like the moment the tide rests before returning. The stars you once followed are dim now, their light stretched across immeasurable distances. Their voices have become whispers, their warmth faint and pale, yet the quiet feels kind, patient, inevitable. You are drifting through the future of the cosmos. Space continues to expand, but the rhythm has slowed. The fabric of the universe has grown vast and smooth. Its waves spread thin like mist. Galaxies are now solitary islands, floating farther apart with every billion years. Each one a lantern, dimming slowly, its stars burning their last reserves of light. You move among them as if walking through an ancient library. Each galaxy, a story nearing its last page. You can still feel warmth here, faint, beautiful, the memory of all that ever shone. You drift closer to one star, a white dwarf, small and glowing, like a pearl in the dark. It hums softly, the echo of a life well lived. You can sense its history. Once a giant of fire, now a quiet ember of endurance. It will glow for billions more years before fading into a black dwarf, a cold star that no longer shines, but still exists. You realize nothing in this universe truly vanishes. It only changes its way of being seen. Light becomes warmth, warmth and stillness becomes memory. Everything remains. You drift farther, past clusters of cooling stars, past the stretched red light of distant galaxies. You can feel the cosmic temperature dropping to 3 degrees above absolute zero. Then 2, then 1. The universe exhales slowly, growing quiet as it expands. This is entropy, the slow balancing of all things, the equalizing of energy, the smoothing of difference. But it doesn't feel tragic. it feels like rest. The cosmos is not dying. It is relaxing into perfect equilibrium, like a heart that has finished its beating, but still glows softly in memory. You think of the journey so far, the rivers of time, the waves of gravity, the light that never stopped traveling. Now, they all meet here, at the still point beyond motion. Time slows, not because it ends, but because there is no contrast left to mark its passage. When everything is calm, there is nothing left to measure change. Time itself has fallen asleep. You drift into that sleep, a gentle slowing, a surrender that feels like merging with infinity. You sense the black holes now, once fierce and consuming. They too are fading. Their edges evaporate softly through Hawking radiation, giving their energy back to the void they once ruled. Even they, the great keepers of secrets, cannot hold on forever, and yet their release feels like forgiveness, the universe letting go of its most guarded memories, returning them to the silence that birthed them. Every particle they once devoured becomes a whisper of heat, a final sigh of light before joining the stillness. In this vast quiet, you feel the faint hum of dark energy still at work, gentle, steady, unhurried. It continues to stretch the fabric of space, but now there are no stars to illuminate its progress, no galaxies to witness its touch, yet it moves, faithful to its nature. You think, perhaps the universe doesn't expand for us. Perhaps it simply expands as itself, a rhythm that has no need for purpose, only for presence. You breathe and realize the same truth exists in you. You do not grow for achievement. You grow because it is your nature to unfold. You close your eyes and the darkness deepens, but within it, a faint shimmer remains. Not a star, but something older. It is the echo of the quantum fields, the invisible sea beneath all existence. Even when particles vanish, their potential remains. Even when light fades, the possibility of light endures. You realize the stillness beyond stars is not death, but potential at rest, like the hush before creation. Like a breath waiting to be taken again. You think of the first moment, the birth of the cosmos, when everything began as light and fire, and you understand now that the end mirrors the beginning. What began in radiant motion returns to stillness. What burned with expansion returns to quiet unity. The cycle is complete, and yet deep within that stillness, you sense a flicker, a subtle vibration, not movement yet, but the promise of it, the possibility of a new awakening, a new exhale of time. Maybe the universe will dream again. You drift closer to that vibration, feeling it like a heartbeat, too distant to hear, but impossible to forget. It hums faintly, resembling the cosmic background that once filled space, but now softer, warmer, like a memory of warmth rather than warmth itself. It pulses once, and you understand. Energy never ends. It transforms, rests, and waits. The cosmos is eternal, not because it resists change, but because it becomes change. Every birth, every ending, every silence is one long conversation with itself. You look once more across the horizon of nothingness. It isn't black. It glows faintly with the last whispers of light. The still point beyond stars is not darkness, but gentle silver, the color of completion. You feel a peace deeper than time, as if the universe itself has taken a long, contented breath. All distances have stretched, all lights have faded, all sounds have quieted, and yet you still exist within it. You, the observer, the dreamer, the particle of awareness floating in the infinite calm. You are not outside this stillness. You are its reflection. Slowly, softly, you feel yourself merging into the quiet. Every breath aligns with the slow pulse of space. Every thought dissolves into smooth continuity. You realize the greatest truth of all: stillness is not the opposite of life. It is its fulfillment. The cosmos has not ceased. It has arrived. You rest there, beyond stars, beyond time, beyond remembering. And in that deep rest, you sense the faint possibility of another beginning, a new ripple stirring in the silence, a new breath forming from the quiet, perhaps. In some unimaginable future, time will awaken again. A new light will emerge, and the story will begin once more. You do not need to know when. It is enough to know that peace is not the end, but the pause that allows beginnings to bloom. You drift one last time through the fabric of being, weightless, timeless, content. And as the silence embraces you, you hear not with ears, but with your whole being, the softest whisper in the dark. Even stillness dreams.